Yesterday, while everyone was freaking out about Coinbase, other big news happened. Gary Gensler was confirmed as the next SEC chairman. Now, Gensler replaces Jay Clayton as the former SEC chair, and the SEC, obviously, as a major regulatory force in the world of cryptocurrency, is something that us and others in the industry pay attention to quite closely. So, people are cautiously optimistic here. I'm curious. Ben, I'll start with you. I'm curious for your take as to why people see the Gensler appointment as potentially positive for the cryptocurrency industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that Coinbase kind of made its debut on the same day that Gensler was confirmed, because their fates are going to be, intertwined for the next few years, certainly. And I think what is making people somewhat excited about this is Gensler's been thinking about crypto for longer than other people have in this regulatory space. In 2018, he was talking about it as a private citizen at MIT, looking at, what are maybe the potential ramifications of ICOs, talking about Ripple. And this was before they were, really mainstream in such a way. And so, while he's maybe not crypto native, he does seem to be willing to engage, has some experience, and is ready to learn more about this, which, even 4 years ago was like quite rare. That was not the norm. And we talked a lot on this show even about how regulators and lawmakers are a little bit slow to the jump here in terms of putting together effective regulation and even effective wording around regulation. And so Gensler might be able to avoid some of those, I guess, gaping potholes that other lawmakers have fallen into. And that gives the industry a little bit of confidence in him.
Yeah, I'm not sure I share your optimism, Ben. The only thing that makes me optimistic about the SEC is Hester Pierce, crypto mum, because Hester Pierce, say it correctly.
The Australian accent.
We're learning in real time here.
Naomi.
No, she's the only person who I think really gets it. I don't think Gensler does. Maybe you're right. Maybe he'll learn. Maybe he'll be open-minded. I just don't see it. Look at what he said in the past. He said, we want to ensure that there's appropriate investor protection. You're like, okay, that makes sense. That sounds like a thing that you would do. And he says, if a company has a token that represents an ownership stake in the currency, it should be regulated because investors are seeking appreciation of their cost basis. He's talking about this like stocks. He doesn't say this, when he's talking about the yuan or, the Australian dollar or the Canadian dollar. He doesn't talk about this when he talks about other currencies. So he's not actually, I don't think he quite understands the technology. This is not a stake in a company. You're not getting dividends from this. This is a currency, So it drives me crazy when they do this. There's another one, when he says that he wants to make sure there are appropriate investor protections, they've just gone after Library. Yes, he was only just confirmed, but former SEC Chair Jay Clayton had already stepped down. This was already his, it's just a formality that he's voted in and officially takes office. It's his administration now, right? They go after Library and talking about investor protection. Not a single person filed a complaint against the Library token. So who are they protecting right here? Who has an issue with this thing? So I personally don't see it. I think they're going to go after cryptos more than we've seen in any other administration because they're learning more about it. But Will, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, no, that's a great jumping off point. I want to ask the group, do you think that the SEC chairmen are becoming more important as we go along in crypto's journey or less important? Because ostensibly, the SEC has known about crypto for quite a while, and it would have been much easier to step in and kind of start squashing it years ago. But crypto's kind of become mainstream, especially with seeing Coinbase go public. So do you think either one matters more or less?
I'll take the more end of the ledger. I mean, I think Jay Clayton was certainly reticent to approve a Bitcoin ETF under his watch. He made his thoughts pretty clear on that. So as the industry evolves, and again, as the constituency changes, I think the SEC is going to play a bigger role. And if Gensler represents a departure in leadership and perhaps a more open-minded approach to regulating this industry, then that's certainly a big deal. But yeah.
Yeah, Ben, your hand went up there.
No, I mean, I think the first thing that came to mind, Will, when you said that was what's he going to do with the Bitcoin ETF in the US, right? That's going to be a huge deal. And to me, that immediately puts the SEC on the more part of the ledger there, just because that's such a question. And you have so many people vying for it that, the SEC is going to be in a position to give somebody a huge first mover advantage.
Interesting. So my thought on it is I'll go really quick. The Bitcoin ETF, I think, in my opinion, I think it's kind of a closed case by at least in the next 2 years. Like, we're already seeing it in Canada. We're seeing it in Germany. Like, there's so many high profile places trying to file these ETFs. I don't see a way that the SEC cannot approve it at some point. I think the question goes to other tokens and other token systems, and that is like where we're going to see the SEC decide to step in or not. For instance, Compound, it's a governance token that very much so looks like a security, and today the SEC has done nothing. And from my information, from just talking with people in that ecosystem, that they brought it to the SEC, and the SEC just kind of didn't, like, shrugged and didn't care. But that could change under this administration. That could change going forward.
Yeah, maybe they don't realize how popular it is. And once they do, they'll be like, oh, got to shut that down. It's like, I mean, Gensler recognizes, he said that Bitcoin is different from other cryptos in that it came into existence with no initial token offering. But they're going after platforms that have had no initial token offering right now. Library had no initial coin offering, right? So I just feel like their verbiage is contradictory. They're probably just going to go after things that are popular, and I think they're going to clamp down on a lot in the crypto space.
I think DeFi is the next frontier here. We may be in this little interstitial window where there's a gap between sort of market awareness and regulatory awareness, and how they act when that gap is closed is going to be really interesting.